wish I wasn't sparking like that. You guys probably can't see this, but the blade's only really fully engaged up at the top here. It's not in the bottom. Hi guys, welcome to A Cool Dry Place. I'm Joe. So I certainly wasn't looking to be making another bandsaw video this close on the heels of 4 bandsaw videos. But necessity calls. I would much rather be working on these 3 different picture frames. Future video, 3 different picture frames, 3 different ways. This distressed one is for my buddy Clint, and that's what we are cutting the 2x4s up for. I just wanted to clean them up a little bit so we could see how we were going to use them. But as you saw, sparks were flying. So we certainly have dulled that bandsaw blade quite a lot. It might be trashed, it might not be trashed, but that's what I want to investigate. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how it is that I sharpen a bandsaw blade. It's dead simple. You probably have the tools for it already. But the first thing is that I want to clean that up a little bit. There is some paint, I think, and some pitch that got on, kind of baked onto the interior of that bandsaw blade and also onto the wheels. So I would like to clean that up a little bit. And I'm going to kind of show you guys what happened or what I'm talking about over there. So let's go on over to the bandsaw and take a look. I hope you can see well here. So this I've already cleaned a little bit. I've cleaned maybe about a foot or so. This is, I guess it's not perfect. There's a little bit of spots right here. The bandsaw is unplugged, by the way. This is just some mineral spirits in a lid here. Now this area here, though, right in here, I have not cleaned up. I think you can maybe see that it's got this whitish, kind of off-white looking crud here. I'm sure that's the paint that's kind of baked onto the inside of the bandsaw blade. It's really not on the outside. I always see it on the inside or the inboard, I don't know how you want to say it, side of the bandsaw. So we want to clean that up, and it was coming up pretty good with some mineral spirits. I'm just going to tackle that a little bit more, maybe a Scotch-Brite pad. I was using some paper towels, but I'm going to switch to probably a Scotch-Brite pad and clean that up a little bit better. And then also on the wheels, there's I do and have been doing quite a bit of softwood. So a lot of this, like pine, 2x4s, that kind of stuff. And so a lot of this is just pitch that's kind of baked on to the bandsaw blade. And I do not have great dust collection on this bandsaw. Unfortunately, I hook up the vacuum once in a while when I'm doing something bigger, but I don't hook it up for just every single cut. That's something I'm looking to improve, is to get this, improve a lot of things in the shop here. It really needs it. At any rate, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the rest of this gunk off of the bandsaw blade and off of the wheels. It comes off really easily with the mineral spirits. I might use a toothbrush, Scotch-Brite pad, that kind of stuff. All right, so I got the pitch and the paint and stuff cleaned off of the inside of the bandsaw blade here, and also on the wheels as well. And I want to just show you what I use. It's dead simple. A rotary tool. I'm sure you guys have one or get one. They're pretty inexpensive. I have a grinder bit in here that is like for sharpening chainsaw blades. This is a 5/32, I believe, or 4 millimeters. This is a diamond impregnated one here. I think it came in a pack of 8 or something like that. I got off on Amazon, if I remember to and know how to. I'm still kind of new to YouTube. I'll leave a link to it. This is one that I picked up a number of years ago from Home Depot, I believe. I'm sure you could get this stuff at other, Lowe's or at Menards, Ace, True Value, that kind of stuff. This is like a grinder wheel kind of stuff right here. I don't know what that stuff is called. But what I did, I want to show you what I did here last time when I sharpened it last time, is you use the tool, zip, 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 back and forth, and kind of ride off the ramp. But if you overshoot and come out a little bit too far and you poke in too quick, sometimes you might leave these little curly cues here. And I'm trying to avoid that. So I want to be slow and deliberate on this. I don't want to try to be, I mean, it seems like a mundane task, and it's not, It goes faster than you think it would, but it is a little bit boring, and so you think that you want to just hurry up and get through it. But I'll tell you what, guys, this only takes about 4 or 5 songs to sharpen your blade up, and I'll bet you by the time that you take off the old blade and put on a new blade and set your guides all up and all that kind of stuff and getting the track right, you could have sharpened the blade that was already on your bandsaw. That's kind of what I take of this. And if you don't know already or you haven't figured it out, I'm a pretty frugal dude. If I could save a few bucks and save some time, I'm gonna do it this way. And I think that this has worked out well for me anyway. So I'm gonna keep doing it. I did add, this is something that I think is gonna help out a lot. I put just a little spring clamp up here. So I just was able to, this one happens to fit in between the guides here, so the blade won't go up and down. This is unplugged, by the way. So the blade won't go up and down because it's kind of, you don't really want to have this creeping around too much when you're trying to grind it. You'll lose track of where you were at. That's the biggest thing that I found was kind of a pain in the butt, was that if the blade is creeping a little bit, I'll lose track of, I was on this tooth or if I was on this tooth or what. And so sometimes you'd hit a tooth too many times, I thought. I'm going to start at the weld. I don't know if this is showing up in the camera very well, but the weld on this blade is right here. This one tooth is a little bit weird looking. I don't know if that's because of the weld or if it's because of this guy right here, but it's a little bit misshapen, but it should still be fine, I would think, for this. The board is just for the contrast. I don't know if I said that or not yet, but the board was just to, there's no special reason. It's just to offer a little more contrast for the camera for you guys. So let's let this rip. I guess I didn't start at the weld, I finished at the weld. You get the idea though, it's really simple. That's pretty darn sharp. Some of the videos that I've seen where folks were doing this is they use the much bigger wheel or disc on this here, and then they just hit the front edge. I don't think that's appropriate. I really think that you need to hit both edges of this teeth or you're not really sharpening it. I guess you're just grinding one edge of the tooth. If you don't hit the both edges here, just like you would do with a plane iron, if you want to go sharpen your plane iron, well, you want to make sure that the back of that plane iron is dead flat, has a nice mirrored finish, and so that way when you want to go sharpen it, you sharpen the bevel side, you hit that, and then you kind of reestablish that it's nice and flat and mirrored smooth on the back side when you go to sharpen it up. Like I said, it's really simple. What would you see here? We went through about, 8 inches or something like that in a couple of seconds. It's pretty easy. It seems tedious, it really does, but it doesn't take that long. Just put on a couple nice songs and you'll be fine. I am going to get a Sharpie marker since I screwed up my whole idea of starting where the weld was at. And mark up here where I started. Folks that don't, so this bandsaw has a riser block, so I have about 12 inches of resaw capacity. And folks without the riser block, I haven't experienced it myself, but you guys might have a little more difficulty because you only have so much, blade here that's exposed. I'm sure you could still do it, or folks with maybe a 10-inch bandsaw or something like that. I'm sure you could still sharpen this up, but it might be a little more difficult. Oh, and also, I don't think I pointed out, this is about a 3 teeth per inch bandsaw blade. If you had a whole lot more teeth per inch, This might be difficult because this 4mm or 5/32 grinder bit fits into this gullet really pretty well. They might make smaller ones of these if you had a finer bandsaw blade. I'm not sure. You'd have to look around and see if you can find one. I don't typically run a finer bandsaw. In fact, I've had this bandsaw blade on this bandsaw pretty much from day one. So I've had this bandsaw for 10, 12 years, something like that, and I've had this bandsaw blade shortly after I got this bandsaw used on the market. But anywho, we just got to plug at this. So I'll do a few more swipes here once I get the Sharpie marker marked on this. I can see where the paint crud is on the gullets of the blade, so that's what's helping me out here. Freaking Sharpie markers, why don't they last forever? There will be some debris on your bandsaw table, which kind of sucks, but that's how it goes. Oh, see? Try to avoid that. Not a big deal, but it's... If you can avoid it, I would. Really, like I find it, just slow, deliberate. Try to keep the Dremel rotary tool, you know, perpendicular to the blade. You probably see I'm really concentrating the effort, the grinding effort in the gullet. I'm not really trying to polish this or do much grinding to the front of the tooth here, or the top of the tooth. All I'm doing there is just shining it up a little bit to remove any kind of burr that might have been left from this. It's something that's kind of neat too, is that I think this goes, yeah, so this is spinning clockwise as we're looking at it here. So that shouldn't have, you know, in the gullet here when we're grinding that, it shouldn't actually have any burr coming this way on the blade. Everything should be kind of taking care of itself. At least that's the theory I'm going to hold to. You know, guys, I didn't even detension the blade to do this. Just keep it at the same tension that you run the bandsaw at normally. Should be golden. Get with it, Joe. Woo! Slow, deliberate. What did I say? Be slow and deliberate. Well, maybe it's because this one's getting a little worn out. Yeah, that's actually smooth right there. It's not over here though. I'm going to keep using it. I think we'll be able to get through this blade. This sharpening section, and then it's going to go in the garbage. Sometimes you might be seeing me hit a tooth again. And that's not because I feel like it needs it. Rather, it's because I came off that ramp and kind of felt like I dubbed it a little bit. And it came off the front of the tooth. And I feel like I sort of dubbed this edge a little bit, the very point. And so I'm trying to kind of go back over really just the front of that tooth again. Oh, there's a little paint stuck on still. Shoot. Is this going to be perfect? No. No, it will not. But I think you'd be surprised how well it really does, and get you back to work again, save you some bucks. Who doesn't like saving some bucks? I think it saves time as well. Like I say, I'm not. This is not a professional shop, but I've been running this blade for 10, 12 years. Now, one thing I wouldn't mind doing is with the, I don't know if you could see this, I'll show you guys here at the end, but there is a lot of metal filing, well, not a lot, but there's a significant amount of metal filings and maybe diamond dust or whatever from this thing that it's on the table here. And I would prefer if that wasn't going into the bearings, if it wasn't going into the guide blocks and that kind of stuff. So one addition that I could see to doing this is putting something over the table to kind of close up this throat a little bit more and protect the table and now the wood table that's on here. And that could be just a board. I guess you could probably even use paper or something like that, like a thicker paper, craft paper or something like that, just to keep the debris from going down into your bandsaw. But that's about the only thing I probably would add or change on this. And we're at our mark. And what, about half a dozen teeth to go before we're there? That's our mark right here. All right, not too bad. It went pretty quick. You know, like I said, just really the thing is to just be slow, deliberate, and I think you'll get pretty good results. I think you'll get better results than you think that you're going to get. You should definitely try this. Probably could go a little faster, but I didn't. So let's see. This is 1 3/4 inches. Not the highest, but guys, I don't know what that squealing is from, but that's something else I want to try to figure out. But not today. I say, not too bad. If we had it on the fence, it would have been a little more stable, and I could have gone a little bit faster and probably have a little bit better results in this, but honestly, I'm very happy with this. Like I say, a 10, 12-year-old blade, and it owes me absolutely nothing at this point. It's still doing a maybe not brand new blade results, but pretty darn close. 15, 20 minutes, that's about what it took to sharpen up this blade. And this is a 105-inch blade, and so it's about 315 teeth or so. It's one of those tests that I think it seems like it's really daunting. It seems like it's going to take forever, but it really doesn't. You know, 3, 4, maybe 5 songs and you're done. And it's very economical. You know, a blade would cost probably about 35, 40 bucks from what I could gather on Amazon that I just checked out a few minutes ago. And I looked up the order that I did with Amazon on this. This was $6 for 8 of them. And I get about 2 or 3 sharpenings per each one of these little grinder wheel doohickey things. And you probably already have the Dremel tool, or you should get one because they're kind of handy. And the quality, I think is just fine. This is exactly what I would expect off of a bandsaw. And I can't ask for anything more. So I would like to get back on that picture frame build. If you guys don't want to miss out on that, please hit subscribe down below, and thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it.